Well, good evening, everyone. Welcome, welcome, welcome. I am Miss Q. I am coming from KPI, Kingdom Producers Internationals, where we are a consultant or consulting firm, and I am also a life coach. I'm excited. I'm excited to bring to you a portion of my workbook that will be available soon. Um, so I'm excited. So last year, I believe it was, I started talking about, or maybe it was, yeah, last year during the summertime, I started talking about the book that I was writing, 5S methodology or lean thinking, 5S methodology to, to improve your growth. And that's what we want. We want to see some growth in our living, want to see some growth in our attitudes, whether it is in the marketplace or at home. This teaching and this training that I'm giving is for everybody. And that's why I am posting it here on Facebook. I will later download it and share it to my YouTube. And I know for those of you who have been doing this much longer than me, we both know that I don't have to go through all of that. But that's just what I'm going to do. At this point, I'm just going to do it here. Then I'm going to download and upload on YouTube. But please go to my YouTube page, Kingdom Producers. I am trying to do better far as my social media presence. So I'm trying to do better with it, okay? So I am uploading content in various places, but definitely with the YouTube page. So it is Kingdom Producers, okay? You can also follow me here on Facebook up under Kingdom Producers Internationals. So, with me being the person that I am, when you come in contact with me, you're going to get a little bit of everything. Okay? You're going to get things from the consulting firm, you're going to get stuff from me as a coach, you're going to get something from me as being a pastor, as a spiritual advisor. You're going to get that part of me far as the corporate world, a manager, what does it look like? And I think that's good because it just shows, who I am and what is involved or what was involved when God created me. So yeah, I'm excited for being the person that I am, and this is why I teach the way that I do, to encourage you to feel the same way. But anyway, so this evening I am going to talk to you about something that I think is very important. And again, I believe that we could utilize this in every area of our lives, whether it is our personal lives or whether it is in the workforce, and it is harassment. So in my workbook, I have set up different modulars. The modulars consist of a lot of things, and over these last few months, you've been getting a taste of what it is that I'm bringing to the table. But the day I want to talk about is harassment. All right, let me check this right here. Okay, yeah, that's me. So we'll make sure my sound is good. All right, so today I want to talk about harassment. So in this particular modular, what the reader would get out of it is what are the different types of harassment? What does it consist of? Um, we know of sexual harassment, but how many have heard of non-sexual harassment? And this is why I said this can go beyond the workplace. And when I put the title together, 5S methodology or lean thinking, people in the manufacturing, they understand, or even the manufacturing industry or even the healthcare industry, they understand what I say when I'm saying stuff like lean thinking, 5S, or the 8 ways. They understand. But for the other group of you, you may be like, well, what is she talking about? Why has she always been talking about 5S? Or why is she always talking about the 8 ways? What does that have to do with me? Or what does it have to do with what I'm doing? It has everything to do with you and what you're doing because it is a way of living. It is continuous improvement. So I believe, me, out of the book of Quatanya, I believe the Lord has given me insight on how to formulate this and how to package this for the everyday person. Now, there's going to be some things in the workbook that's going to help out those who are in the corporate world, far as providing effective employee training. And there's going to be some things, or there are some things that's in this book that's going to help the common Joe. Okay, so how do you respond to a conversation from your child that you normally say, hey, would say, I'm not prepared for this. Okay, so I'm going to give you different tools, different techniques on how to become a better person, become a better version. And that is what lean thinking out of the book of Quatanya is going to be about. It's about changing your mindset, making you aware of the things that you do. Some people don't know that they're biased. Some people don't realize that there is a such thing called subconscious bias. And what I try to tell people in the corporate world, or hiring managers, you have to make sure that when you're going after talent that you're not biased. You have to make sure that there's no retaliation, and I have a segment in my book when it comes to retaliation. You have to make sure that you are not withholding a good position or an opportunity for someone because you heard XYZ. Now, do you see how this can go into our regular life, our everyday life, and not just necessarily um, just being on the job. Yeah. All right. So in that particular module of harassment, you're going to learn again the different types of harassment, sexual, non-sexual. You're going to learn about bullying. What is bullying? I remember my first job in Gaston County Schools, I was a parent involvement specialist. And at that particular school that I serviced, that's something that I pride myself on, was taking on bullying, informing the parents about bullying, what to look for, informing the school, the students, the teachers, how to identify bullying and what are some of the signs of bullying. Now, we normally look at bullying far as kids. There may be some of you who say, hey, I was bullied when I was in school, or if the truth be told, you may say, hey, well, I was one of the bullies. So you may say, hey, yeah, I am so sorry. Hold on. I'm sorry, y'all. I ain't repeating myself on this. Okay, but yeah, but bullying, whether you was bullied or whether you was being bullied, either way, there's some consequences, okay? So we think of it as in the kids, like I said, school, but bullying, happens with adults. Okay. And in this particular book, you're going to find out bullying is just really an imbalance of power. So you could be on your job, your supervisor could be bullying you, the HR manager could be bullying you, a vendor could be bullying you. There's so many ways of looking at bullying, and I think that it's time for us to truly get a better understanding, especially if you're trying to hire and retain employees. You have to understand what's keeping people here and what's keeping people from wanting to work here. Okay. So again, excuse me, in this module, you're going to hear about the different forms of harassments. How can we teach others and educate them with truth? Okay. The truth, and become aware about of other people's feelings, of how people feel, their thoughts, their ideas, respect other people in their space. You may not agree with everything that people do, but I do believe in respect. That's something that I think that is, if I think it's very important. Let me complete my sentence. I think it's very important that we learn to respect people and their difference. All right. All right. So what else you're going to learn up under this particular modular? You're going to learn about the harassers and the targets. So one of the things I need for you to understand is that a person or any person can be a harasser, and any person can be a target. Sometimes we hear things like, well, God, I never would have thought that. Or I didn't see that in him, or I didn't see that in her. Who would have known that they were being targeted? Or who would have thought that he or she was the bully? So the harasser, again, it could be a supervisor, it could be a coworker, it could be a vendor, it could be a client. The harasser normally experience or exercise some level of authority. Okay, because remember what I said about bullying. Bullying is an imbalance of power. So with the harasser, that's what they're doing. They're exercising what power they have over the target to make that target person feel scared or feel afraid to speak up or say something. Okay, these people are aware of their behavior, but they consider their behavior as normal. Why? Because no one corrects them. Normally, these people, the people who are harassers, normally they walk together. Normally, everybody in their group are harassers. This is why there's not a level of accountability because they doing the same thing. They joke the same way. Everything is a joke to them. They all know when they come together for their meeting, they already know, the shop floor gossip, what's going on with this person and that person. They're talking about them. Okay, they already know what's going on. All right, so again, they normally surround themselves around other people who are just like them. They laugh off their behavior because they contribute their behavior to be from their region or the environment that they came from. I'm sure you've heard some people say, well, this is just me. This is how we talk, from up north. Well, they just got to get it. Or somebody may ask you, are they from around here? Well, that's why, it came off a little hard or a little harsh because they from upstate. That's not excusable. That, you should not allow, or you as a person, you shouldn't say that just because somebody is not from around here, that that's the reason why they can mistreat you or make another person feel a certain way. No, listen, I do not care if you are from Mars. When you come in my space, learn me. Just like if I come in, listen, when I come into your space, there should be a level of expectation that I want Q to respect me. I don't want Q to talk to me as if she doesn't have any sense, but talk to me as if you know better. Remember, when you know better, you do better and you feel better. Okay? So we have to understand with harassers, that's what they do. They laugh about things. They, push it off to this is just me. This is just what we do. And if you don't change the culture of the environment that you're in, then you are going to run away great talent or great potential. Okay? You're going to run them away. And it's going to prevent you from getting, like I said, the talent that you need, or better yet, the people who you need to be in your life. Okay? Because remember, we're not just talking about the workforce, we're talking about our everyday life. All right? So, who are the targets? Targets are not just vulnerable people. They are not just weak people. These targets are not people who just don't have a mouth and they can't say anything. They're not just walking around with a big old target on their back saying, hey, hit me, choose me, pick on me today. Let me be the one who you call shame and embarrassment to come to. No. People who become targets are targeted because of the environment being vulnerable. If there's not, listen, if the environment is not tight, if there are not strong people in the environment, then you are bound to find some people who are going to be sexually harassed, who are going to be non sexually harassed, who are going to be bullied. You're going to find those things. It's going to be why it is an open opportunity for those things to take place. So, again, a person who's a target, it's not because they're vulnerable, it's because their environment is vulnerable. The environment was vulnerable, okay? And this is why it's so important that employers put in policies that will protect everybody. It doesn't matter about your opinion about how a person looks or how they dress or their sexual preference or whatever. Your opinion doesn't matter. Here, let me say it this way. It matters, but when it comes to work, you have to be careful because why? There are laws. There are laws in place to protect people. So you have to be careful on what you say, how you say things. And in this particular modular, I have different activities set up and we're going to talk about one, but I have particular activities to inform you or to make you think or make you be aware of maybe some of the things that you've been saying. Huh, have I been doing this? Have I been doing that? Well, I have said some stuff like that before, but they didn't say anything to me that it bothered them. Listen, just because no one speaks up doesn't mean that it's not a problem. All right? So, again, we want to make sure, or when I go in as a consultant, or if I'm coaching someone, I'm trying to get them to understand it's important that you set policies in place. Listen, even if you have a company and it's only two of you, okay? You, the owner, and say your child is helping you run that company. It is still important to put policies and procedures together because, again, what do we want? We all want to expand. We all want to produce, and we all want to make sure that we are protected. Because remember, I said earlier that harassers, they can be co-workers, they can be vendors, they can be clients. So it's not just about, oh, I don't have nobody working for me. It's just me and myself and I, or me and my dog Shadow, or me and my children. It's just us and it's a family business. It doesn't matter. It doesn't matter if it's a family business. It doesn't matter if you have five people working for you. You want to make sure that you have solid policies in play to protect them. All right? Because why? Again, you got vendors, you have clients, and if you have more than one worker, guess what? You have coworkers. All right? So you want to make sure that you are not the harasser. And you want to make sure if you got one other person that they're not the target because it's just you and them. All right? So target people. They can be targeted for their national origin. They can be targeted for their religious beliefs. They can be targeted for their race, their language, their ethnicity. They can be targeted for their sexual preference, their identity, their gender, whether a female is pregnant or even nursing. Yeah, even mothers who nurse their children, their babies. You want to make sure that there's policies that's in play to protect them, and you want to make sure that they are not being harassed. How can a mother who is pregnant, excuse me, a pregnant lady, how can she be harassed? Something as simple as, there she go again. She just trying to get off the job. She ain't got to go to the restroom 20 times an hour. Or what about a nursing mother? Why she gets 20 more, well, why she gets 10 more minutes extra for break just to pump milk? My kids, back in the day, they didn't do that for us. My kids, they were fine. They were fine waiting until I got home. You know? No. Every employer should set aside some time for that mother to prepare herself and to pump her milk for her newborn baby or for her child. Okay? So you got to make sure that they're not being targeted. Look at her. Her child 2 years old. She ain't pumping milk. Some people may breastfeed until their child's 3. You understand? Some people are targeted because of their disability. Some people are targeted because of their genetic information. And that's why you have to be careful on what information you provide to people, because you don't want to be targeted. All right. So there's many ways. Being older than 40, there is a protection for those people, gray people who are over 40. We are protected. But if you don't know, you just don't know. So you have to make sure again that there's policies that are set in play to make sure that, hey, listen, my employee or my employees, we are going to respect all all mankind. It doesn't matter whether you're vendors, our clients, whether you work for us, it doesn't matter. We're going to respect you. We're not going to harass you or bully you. All right. And again, I'm just giving you just some of the content that's in the book. All right. And hopefully you'll purchase. All right. All right. So we'll talk about sexual harassment later because that's really known. But let's talk about sexual harassment. Excuse me, non-sexual harassment. What does that look like? All right. So non-sexual harassment is just that. There's no sex really involved, okay? It's not involved, okay? It can be as something as simple as you teasing somebody, trying to intimidate someone, you are offensive, you make offensive comments pertaining to a person's stereotypes or, um, excuse me, based upon stereotypes or even bullying someone or a group of people based off their sex, their gender identity, or their sexual orientation. So, non-sexual harassment is very misunderstood because we have a generation of people who feel as if they can say whatever they want to say and do whatever it is that they want to do. Now, listen, I get it and I understand the First Amendment, right? I understand the freedom of speech, the free speech. I understand that. But there is always a time and a place to be heard. Okay? There's always. There's always a time and a place. And let me add the environment. And that's the key. The environment to say what it is that you want to say. All right? So, just because you can doesn't mean that you should. Just because you can say something, because you have the freedom of speech, doesn't mean that you should. You know, we have freedom of speech, but you cannot go into an open environment and start screaming bomb. No, they start shutting things down and you may get what called in and you can just turn some things around. You have to watch what you say. So just because you can doesn't mean that you should. All right? All right, so again, the key word is environment. All right, so I'm going to give you this quick exercise and I'm going to get off. All right, so one of the lean thinking points that I'm going to bring to the table is some different characters. And these characters are based off of some things that I've experienced before, some things that I've seen other people experience before. My training that I give out, they are for information purposes only, okay? They are not intended for any type of legal advice, all right? So I definitely want to make sure I am clear with that. All right, so scenario. All right, Capri has been thinking about changing her hairstyle. She likes the afro look, but she works with a lot of Caucasian people. Capri is afraid that if she were to change her look, her Caucasian co-workers will laugh and judge her. She does not work in a diverse environment. There is a new project manager positioning opening, and her supervisor just recently told her that she would be a great candidate and she should apply. What should Capri do? All right, so Capri believes that making this change to her hair is going to be very good for her. It's going to be healthy, and she wants to be healthy, so she wants to make this change, but she feels that if she makes this change, it's going to probably cause some conversations in the break room. Okay, her appearance is going to maybe make some people feel uncomfortable, and it may make her feel uncomfortable at first, especially if she's not used to looking different. So, what does Capri need to do? Well, I'm glad you asked. What should she do? Because at the end of the day, she wants to keep her job. She wants to continue to perform. She understands that her appearance has nothing to do with her. Now, get this when I say this, her appearance, meaning the way she wears her hair, has nothing to do with her being qualified or being unqualified for the job. Okay? All right. So, knowing that Capri wants to change her hairstyle, she also feels reluctant because of the lack of diversity that is in her workplace. So, again, what advice would you offer Capri? Well, again, I'm glad you asked. So Capri is going to reach out to Miss Q, and Miss Q is going to suggest that Capri educate her coworkers. It is so easy to say, girl, do you? It's your body. Come on, do you? It's easy to say that. But you have to be mindful of who she is, what she's trying to do, the attempt she's trying to make, and the people of influence. So there's some things that we have to look at here. All right. So again, Miss Q, she suggests to this particular client, hey, educate. Educate your coworkers or find someone to educate them and then go from there. All right, so Capri goes in the next day. She um, says good morning to this coworker. Her name is Holly. Okay, so again, once you follow me, you're going to learn the characters. Okay, so she says hello. She said good morning to Holly. Holly said, "Hey, how you doing? What did you do last weekend?" And so Capri begins to tell her that she went to Atlanta. She went to a hair show, and so Holly was like, "Okay, cool, interesting, right?" And so Capri begins to say, okay, well, this is an opportunity for me to inform her about my hair. So Capri goes in and she talks about her hair. She talks about not only her hair, but the stylist, the barbers that was in Atlanta, how she sat in up under training, and how the facilitator talked about all the different types of hair. And so she just took this time to educate Holly. Why was this important? This was important for Capri because Capri knew, hey, I want to embrace something. I want to bring something in. Let me educate and change this environment so that we can prevent some type of harassment. What I'm not going to give you everything, you just have to buy the workbook, but you will see later on how the education helps some, but for the most part, the environment stayed the same. Okay. The environment stayed the same temporarily. Okay. So why is it important? Excuse me. Why is it important to educate people? It's important to educate people because when people don't know, they just react off of what other people have said, okay, or what other people have done. But in this particular modular, you will find out that Capri not only educated Holly, but Capri ended up being the target. She was a target because there were some other co-workers who did not receive the education, and they were going off of some prejudice, um, some things, or they made some prejudice and bias comments that eventually made Capri uncomfortable and also Holly uncomfortable. So in this book, what the goal is designed to inform you, to cause you to be alert to the things that you say, the things that you may not do. Such things as, "Oh, can I touch your hair? Oh God, I didn't know that you all did this. I didn't know that was a wig." Oh, I didn't know. Is that a weave? So you have to be careful on what you say. But if you don't know, if you don't educate your team, then you could be setting yourself up for a hostile environment. Now, again, I have plenty of exercises and activities in this workbook because it's designed. It is designed to inform. It is designed to provide solutions to an environment that may be suffering through chaos and confusion. And we know of chaos and confusion is what? It's the same thing as today, modern hostile work environment. Okay. And the thing about working in an environment that is hostile, people are dealing with mental health. People are going to work depressed, angry, mad, and you may think that, hey, well, this is just a joke. Well, I've been joking with this person for a while now. They have never said anything. But you just never know. That day may be the day that that person decides to bring a firearm or to go off, for the sake of words, because they feel in a certain way. So, as the employer or even as a bystander, it is your responsibility to take note to the things that's going around. So, again, I would love to keep talking about Capri, Holly, and the hair content, but again, you will have to invest in my content. um, yeah, again, it is not just only for the corporate world, but it's for you as well, for your life individually. It is designed to help you to grow, to improve. If you want information on this and how you can get it, please let me know. You can reach out to me at www or go to my website, www.keenaproducers.com. You can send me a message. You can email me at Quatanya at Kingdom Producers at kingdomproducers.com, or you can call me at 704-594-2382, or just send me a message here. Send me a message. So again, in this particular modular, you will learn about harassment. You're going to learn about retaliation, bullying, steps that a bystander can take. You're going to learn about sexual harassment and non-sexual harassment, okay? And again, this is not only for the corporate world, but it's for you as well. So if you're interested, then just reach out to me and I will let you know how you can get the 5S methodology in your hand. All right? So thank you for hanging out with me. So tomorrow, join us. Join us at 10:30 a.m. as we enter into worship here at our church located at 705 East Franklin Boulevard in Gastonia. Remember, I told you, when you get me, you get all of me. You get kingdom living, you get empowerment, you get Keenan producers, you get it all, okay? So I'm excited. So yeah, come join us here at our church at 10:30 at 705 East Franklin Boulevard here in Gastonia, North Carolina. Until then, be safe and God bless you all.